Your IT director rolled out multi-factor authentication 2 years ago. MFA, every employee enrolled, every privilege account enforced. The board hears the coverage is 100%. And then last quarter, your threat intelligence briefing describes attackers walking right past MFA prompts at thousands of organizations. No malware, just a $30 phishing kit. The gap is the whole story. The MFA you deployed and the MFA your examiner now wants are not the same thing. I'm Justin Kirsch with Access Business Technologies. Today, phishing-resistant MFA for financial institutions. Why examiners from FFIEC now expect FIDO2 keys and passkeys for banks and credit unions. Why the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission Safeguard Rule, is even more explicit for mortgage companies. And the 4-stage rollout playbook that actually finishes. The original promise of multi-factor was that something you have plus something you know would defeat password reuse and credential stuffing. It does. What it does not defeat is an attacker who relays your live login through a reverse proxy, watches your complete the SMS code or authentication push, and then pockets the session cookie that proves you authenticated. The mechanics are not complicated. A phishing email lures the user to a domain that looks like a Microsoft login. The page is hosted by an attacker, but it transparently relays every keystroke and every challenge to the real Microsoft endpoint. The user enters credentials. Microsoft challenges for MFA. The user completes the SMS code, then pushes the notification or the one-time passcode. Microsoft returns a valid session cookie. The proxy captures the cookie and replays it from the attacker's infrastructure. This is called adversary in the middle phishing, AiTM. Microsoft Threat Intelligence tracks more than 10,000 AiTM attempts every single month against Microsoft 365 tenants. Proofpoint reports AiTM incident volume rose 46% year over year. The dominant kit, Tycoon 2 FA, rents for $120 for a 10-day campaign. The economics of bypassing your MFA collapsed. Here is what most institutions miss. Phishing-resistant MFA is not a marketing term. It is a technical category defined by NIST in a special publication, 863-4. NIST is the National Institute of Standards and Technology, the U.S. government body that sets cybersecurity framework standards. NIST says phishing resistance requires single or multi-factor cryptographic authentication, and it explicitly excludes any authenticator that involves manual entry of an output, SMS, voice, push notification, one-time password applications. None of them qualify. The reason is binding. FIDO2 security key uses the WebAuthn standard. WebAuthn performs verifier name binding. When you register a FIDO2 key with Microsoft 365, the key cryptographically associates its credential with the login dot. For example, Microsoft.com. During phishing attempt, the browser passes the actual page origin to the FIDO2 key. If the page is a phishing proxy at a different origin, the key refuses to complete the challenge. The protocol fails, closed, without depending on the user noticing the spoofed page. That is the real shift. Examiners are not pretending the 2021 FFIEC Interagency Authentication Guidance was written for AiTM kits. The interagency body sets the examination standard for banks and credit unions, but examiners are reading the equivalent strength language with the current threat data in mind. A privileged account on SMS only MFA in 2026 is not the same control posture it was in 2021. Whether SMS still qualifies as equivalent strength is the question every IT examination now reaches. The mistake most institutions make at the start of phishing-resistant rollout is treating it as a tenant-wide flip. Forcing every employee to register a FIDO2 key on the same day creates a help desk avalanche, breaks legacy applications, and burns the political capital the program needs for the harder phases. The institutions that actually finish the rollout treat it as a 4-stage sequence. Stage 1, identify privileged and high-value accounts. Global admins, exchange admins, security operations, finance executives, wire transfer approvers, core banking administrators. 2 to 5% of all accounts, but the entire blast radius surface. Stage 2, pilot FIDO keys or device-bound passkeys with privileged account population for 6 weeks. Capture the help desk tickets, registration friction, edge cases. The pilot is the institutional learning event that prevents the broader rollout from stalling later. Stage 3, build a conditional access policy in Microsoft Entra ID that requires the built-in phishing-resistant MFA authentication strength for sign-ins to admin portals and high-risk applications. Run it in report-only mode for at least 2 weeks before enforcement to surface any access path that depends on a non-phishing resistant factor. Stage 4, phase out SMS for the broader user base across 2 or 3 quarters. This stage takes the longest because it requires application compatibility testing for legacy or third-party tools. The sequence matters because it produces examination-grade evidence early. By the end of Stage 2, you can show your examiner that privileged access is on phishing-resistant MFA. Whether you are a bank under FFIEC oversight, a credit union under NCUA oversight, or a mortgage company under FTC Safeguards Rules, the technical evidence is the same. By the end of Stage 3, you have a conditional access policy artifact that enforces the strength. ABT turns this rollout for more than 750 regulated financial institutions on Microsoft 365. If your institution is still on SMS for privileged access, you have one set of decisions in front of you. Inventory privileged accounts. Pick the pilot population. Choose between FIDO2 hardware keys and device-bound passkeys. Build the conditional access policy. Run report-only mode before the enforcement. The full breakdown lives on the blog with the Microsoft Entra Authentication Strength Matrix. The mandatory MFA timeline Microsoft is enforcing through 2026, and the answers to the 6 questions every examiner asks. Link is in the description below. If you want to know whether your tenant's current MFA posture would survive an AiTM kit attack, and whether your privileged account would survive the next examination, run a security grade scan at getmygrade.myabt.com. ABT runs the audit. You see what the examiners will see. Subscribe for weekly Microsoft 365 security and compliance content built specifically for credit unions, banks, and mortgage customers. I'm Justin Kirsch. See you in the next one.